Hi, welcome to this video which is all about sandbag presses. It came to me that I use my little sandbag weights that I made for dressmaking all the time for hatting. So I thought, oh, there must be something I could use them for in a better way. So what you need for this is you need some cotton fabric preferentially, because you need to have it heat proof, and it needs to have a really close weave so that the sand doesn't fall out. Now, I've made loads of these in the past and they're dotted all around the place in the house, so I'm just going to make a couple here to show you. You need 2 layers obviously because you're making a bag. So I'm going to cut out a teardrop shape just for something different. You can cut them out round, you can cut them out long, you can cut them out all sorts of shapes, whatever you feel. I've made some long sausage ones and some little round ones. Anyway, this one is a teardrop, 2 layers of fabric. And then I'm also going to make a small sausage shape one, because the sausage ones I've made are all very long. So I'm just going to make a tube. So I'm just going to cut that out now. And once we've cut out our shapes, we need to sew them together. You will need to leave a small gap so that you can fill it with the sand. And whether you're sewing it by hand or sewing it on a machine, you need to have very close stitches. So I'm using a number 2 length on this machine so that the sand can't fall through the stitching. And when I get to the ends, I'm going backwards and forwards to make it really secure round the right way through the gap. I did think about this afterwards and I thought, well, actually you don't have to turn them out, you could just use them as they are. But as I've turned out all the other ones I've made, I thought, well, I'll stick with it. Once they're turned round the right way, we're going to fill them with sand. Now it must be play sand, the kind of sand you use in kids' play pits, because that's been washed and cleaned. If you use ordinary building sand or sand off the beach, you will get colour leaching through the bags if they get damp, and you don't want yellow or orange stains. Now you could fill with something like rice or lentils or something like that if you didn't want to use sand. But the only problem with that is it's not as weighty. The sand is a much better weight, heavier weight. And also the rice, the lentils, whatever, could go mouldy and nasty after a while, especially as they're likely to get damp. So I wouldn't advise it. But once you've filled them, you want to just fold over your gap and then stitch it very closely together again so that the sand doesn't fall out. You need to get some really tight stitches in there. So stitch it all closely together all the way along, tightly. When you've finished, make sure by shaking them that the sand isn't coming out of any holes. And once they're all sewn, you can see a long one there that I use quite a bit. Now it's discoloured because I used it as it was on top of a blocked piece of blue cinema, and the colour leached through. Now if you don't want colour leaching through and you don't want the sand to get damp, the best thing to do is cover your work with some cling film, some saran wrap. But I have to say, if you want something to dry faster, leave the sandbag as it is, because the sand absorbs the moisture and helps it dry that bit quicker. It does mean you've got to put the sandbag to one side to dry for a couple of days. But you can use it to put round brims, to shape brims, to weight them down. Instead of using a million pins, you can use it for up brims, down brims. I've used mine a lot for all sorts of things, for shaping, keeping things in position while I'm working on them. It's great for using as a presser. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll speak to you soon.